it's Jasmine, and today we're going to make Panda Macarons. These macarons are so cute, they're almost too cute to eat. Now to make macarons, it does take some practice, but this recipe I have adjusted after practicing them a few times to make sure it comes out right. I have made macarons in my channel before. I made simple macarons and Snowman Macarons, so make sure to check those out. These Panda Macarons make a perfect gift for any occasion, and they're also a really cute treat. So let's get started. First off, we're going to pass all of our dry ingredients through a sieve. Now if you made macarons before, you would know that this is quite an important step to get rid of all the big lumps. I'm using a hand sifter, and I'm just going to pour in the almond meal. We're also going to add in the icing sugar. And we're just going to pass that all through the sieve. Next, we're going to make the meringue. I'm going to be using a hand mixer today, but you can also use the stand mixer, and I don't suggest you doing this by hand. Make sure the bowl and the beater are nice and clean and dried, and that the egg whites are room temperature to make sure they come out right. I used about 1.5 eggs today. We're just going to add that to the bowl, and we're just going to start beating it until it becomes nice and fluffy. Then we're going to slowly add in the white sugar. Once the meringue could hold stiff peaks, that means it is ready. Another way to test is if you could flip the bowl upside down and nothing falls over, that means it is done. Now we could combine the dry ingredients and the meringue to form the macaron batter. So I'm going to pour the almond meal and the icing sugar right into the meringue. We're just going to go around the bowl until the almond meal and the meringue kind of combines. Now, once it gets to this stage, you can see the dry ingredients are all folded into the meringue now. We could start to press it down the center and release the extra air. So we're going to go around the bowl, press down in the center, and keep going. Now we're going to take a little less than 1/3 of this batter and put it in another bowl. This part of the batter we're going to dye black, and that's what we're going to use to draw the nose, the eyes, and the ears of the panda. And we're going to continue folding the rest of the batter until it forms ribbons and it disappears into the batter in about 15 seconds. We're going to load this batter into a piping bag. I fitted mine with a small round tip. We're just going to set this aside for now. Now we're going to take the batter that we reserved earlier and dye it black. So I have some black gel food coloring here. We're just going to fold that in as we continue folding the batter to form ribbons as well. We're going to load the batter into a piping bag that I fitted with an extra small tip. We're just going to load the batter into the bag. Now we can start to pipe the batter onto a baking tray lined with some parchment paper. I'm going to use a little bit of batter to stick the parchment paper down. To make the Panda Macarons, you want to pipe out a shape that looks kind of like a bead. You could also just go with the oval shape if you want to make it simpler. Once you piped out all of the white batter, we're then going to go back in with the black batter and draw the eyes, the nose, and the ears. The eyes are kind of like a teardrop shape, and you could go back in with a toothpick to fix the shape if you're not happy with it. When I'm drawing the face features, I like to match up the same shape and also draw a tail on the other macaron. This way, you can sandwich two together after it bakes. You want to work quite fast when you're piping on the face features and the tail because the macaron batter on the bottom might start to dry, and you want the black batter to kind of sink into the white batter. Once you piped out all of your batter, you want to bang the tray on the counter a couple of times to not only release extra air bubbles, but you also want to settle down the black batter into the white batter. Now we're just going to let this sit somewhere dry for around 15 to half an hour, depending on the humidity of where you put it. You should be able to touch it with your finger and nothing should stick, then we can bake it. While the macarons are baking, we're going to make the filling. I like to have chocolate ganache as my filling, so that's what we're making today. You could also use buttercream or jam or really whatever you like to fill these macarons. Today we're going to make white chocolate ganache, so you're going to need some white chocolate chips and whipping cream. We're going to pour the chocolate chips in a bowl. And over top of that, we're going to pour on the whipping cream. Now we're just going to place this into the microwave for 30-second intervals and stirring in between until it is completely smooth. Once the ganache is nice and smooth, cover it with a piece of plastic wrap and place it in the fridge for it to chill. The macarons has finished baking. It is just slightly golden brown on top and the feet is perfect. I've let it cool completely, so now we're going to carefully peel it off the parchment paper. You can see the bottom is nice and smooth and nothing should actually stick to the piece of parchment paper. So I'm just going to peel off the rest of the macarons. Next, we're going to match up the macaron shells that are the same size. We're going to pipe on the ears, the nose, and the eyes, and we're going to find a similar shape and pipe on a tail. Once we matched up all of the macarons and arranged it like this so we know which one goes on which, we're going to paint on a little bit of blush with some pink luster dust. This is basically powder food coloring, and we're going to paint it on with a food safe paintbrush to give it a little bit of color. But obviously this is optional. If you don't want to do it, you could skip to the next step. I like to use a cap as like a palette. The chocolate ganache has chilled. It is nice and set now, so we could start to pipe it into the macarons. Now you want to make sure that you do not chill it for too long or else it's going to be really hard and you won't be able to spread it on the macarons. So we're just going to scoop it into a Ziploc bag. You could also use a piping bag with a tip if you want to. You see the ganache should be a nice spreadable consistency. If you don't want to pipe it on, you could also just spoon it on and then spread it out with a butter knife. Just going to snip off the tip. And now just take the bottom macaron shell, pipe on some of that filling. I like to spread it out with a butter knife a little bit more so that we don't have to press down the first shell too hard. Just wiggle it on. Make sure you don't press too hard because the shells are delicate. And there we go. That's how you make Panda Macarons. I filled my macaron shells with some white chocolate ganache, but again you can fill them with whatever you like. They are now finished, so you can put them into a little gift box and they make perfect gifts for pretty much any occasion. They're also perfect little treats and snacks. It does take a little bit of practice to make, but once they come out right, they're totally worth it. So I really hope you can try this out. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time. Bye!